this. I know you want to get to Troy Aikman, and we get to some of the
There's a lot to get into.
Overrated Cowboys of all time. I think it's Tony Romo. What the hell did he ever win? What the hell did he ever win?
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up because Spadoni, I'm driving in this morning, and he brought up, who's got the most on the line. And I was thinking, to me, this whole, who's got the most to gain, it's who's got the most to lose. And I think this automatic pivot from fans, the media, just from a lot of people, not everyone. I don't want to scapegoat everyone. If Shanahan loses any game, it's always, he can't win the big one. He can't win the big one. And I find that so absurd. That is such small time thinking. None of the games that he wins mean anything except the final game of the season.
Right.
Only one person can win. Go back and look at Super Bowl logs and who's winning. Belichick's got them all. At least in the last 10 years, it feels like, right? They're in all of them. And you look at all these different coaches around the league right now. When was the last? Look, I respect Mike Tomlin more than anyone. To not have a losing season
is impressive.
Hell yeah. When was the last big-time playoff game Mike Tomlin won?
It's been a long time.
Does that mean that he's not good? Of course he's good.
Bill Cowher won one Super Bowl. How many playoff shortcomings did he have?
Lots of them.
But you'll say that, hey, that's a damn good coach.
Exactly. I'm like Tony Dungy, who we always do this when we listen to Tony Dungy. He was a great coach. He's a terrible broadcaster. That's what we always say. Was he a great coach?
He was good.
Of course, good. But he lost a zillion times.
He lost a zillion times, but he's got the one Super Bowl, and he built something in Tampa. You got to give him credit for that. But no, he loses. There's other coaches. Sean Payton. He's got one Super Bowl. How many playoff shortcomings did he have? And right now, he's the hottest coach of commodity out there.
13 years ago. You know what I mean? Aaron Rodgers, we were talking about this. We don't do the Aaron Rodgers can't win the big one. It's been almost 15 years since Aaron Rodgers won anything of significance.
Mike Holmgren. We love Mike Holmgren.
Of course.
He's got one Super Bowl. They've got a lot of playoff failures. It happens.
Exactly.
It's a big thing. So, if you're getting to Shanahan has the most to lose.
I feel like it is because I know what's going to happen. They're going to say, this was your healthiest team you've ever had because of the weak strength of schedule. This was the best roster you've ever had. Mm-hmm. You had home field advantage for this game. That's what they're going to say. And then my pivot will be like, well, hey, winning in the playoffs is difficult in a one-game sample because the margins are very razor thin. B, he does have a rookie quarterback here, y'all. He does have a rookie quarterback.
He's got a 7th-round pick in Brock Purdy, who he's carrying Brock Purdy. He's carried Brock Purdy these last two first halves. He's dialing up so many good plays, and his play design has been so good, especially in the pass game, that guys are running wide open. And if you watch JT O'Sullivan's quarterback school, and if you watch the film back, and you watch Baldy's breakdowns, there's plays that Brock Purdy is missing that Shanahan is setting up. And if people pivot on Shanahan saying, well, you know what, he just can't win the big one. To me, and I've been Shanahan's harshest critic, I believe this has been his best coaching job.
I agree.
And to me, even though they're the 2 seed, even though they haven't lost in a long, long time, I still believe that he's playing with house money because of the quarterback situation.
And I don't think that, when you say that, B, I agree with you. I don't think that means this weekend means nothing. Of course it means
everything. They want to win. Of course it means
something. So I don't want to pretend like it doesn't. But we do this in sports, and I think it's so foolish. We do this, can't win the big one. We did this with Harbaugh. NFC championship games, just getting to them is just birthright.
Right.
It's how many big-time wins you have to get to put yourself in that position?
Harbaugh and company had huge wins.
Huge wins.
Huge wins in New England, in the Superdome. I mean, at home against the New York Giants in the regular season. They won a lot of big games. A lot of big games. I'm seeing 650 Xfinity Mobile text line. Andy Reid. They've won a lot of big games in Kansas City. A lot of big games in Philadelphia.
But they have one ring.
They've got one ring.
And I think he's great. And I'm not taking it away. What I'm trying to say is, and look, I'll be devastated if they lose to the Cowboys. That's not what but I think the instant pivot to he can't win the big one is one of the dumbest things in sports. And that's why I believe, I'm telling you, B, if they lose this weekend, if they lose the weekend after,
that would be unfair.
It's going to go. This is what the media is going to do. They're going to go right to Shanahan, and they're going to say he can't win the big one. And to me, that is low-hanging loser fruit.
That's a tough one. Tom Coughlin. I'm seeing Tom Coughlin, Ernie Chavez. Tom Coughlin. He's got the 2 Super Bowls with the New York Giants. What about all the losses they had with Jacksonville? Being a 1 seed, losing to Tennessee in the AFC Championship game. The thing with Shanahan, and I think Brock Purdy's taking this league by storm. He's taking this market by storm. Shanahan has been able to do to keep this team floating and keep them on the same track.
Mm-hmm.
This is their third quarterback. I don't think we touched that on. Like, think about that. You spent all training camp getting ready for Trey Lance. Playbook for Trey Lance. You're getting ready for Trey to navigate through the season. He doesn't last 5 quarters.
No.
So then you all of a sudden you go right back to Jimmy Garoppolo, a guy. Let's just say it. We know Shanahan doesn't trust Jimmy Garoppolo to throw passes, and we see why. Jimmy wasn't capable of running this offense to the highest level. He just wasn't. He was able to manage it, but he wasn't able to take it to the next level.
No.
So you navigate through Jimmy Garoppolo with no training camp and all that stuff, and he's trying to work himself back into shape, and he's on this FU tour, and he's trying to get paid this offseason. He gets hurt early in the Miami game. You're going up against your mentee, Mike McDaniel, who lit you up on the first play of the game for a big touchdown to Trent Sherfield. And you're sitting there saying, all right, Brock, it's a huge game. Levi's is rocking. Save us. And you're in your third quarterback, and you've won a division title. You've been undefeated with Brock. And all of a sudden, we're going to pivot if they lose to say Shanahan can't win the big one? I mean, was it last week a big one?
Yeah.
Was it the short week in Seattle a big one?
Yeah.
Was it the Raider game a big one in Vegas?
I mean,
a trap game?
Go back last year. I mean, was the Green Bay game in the frozen tundra where you don't score an offensive touchdown?
Absolutely.
Was that a big one?
Oh, absolutely.
How about the Dallas game that you won on the road last year? Was that a big one?
What about the wild card? The last game of the season at SoFi Stadium, Dallas 17-0.
I'm with you.
So this whole notion that Shanahan can't win the big one, Shanahan's going to be here for a while.
Yeah.
And I think he's the best coach right now in the NFC. If I had to pick all the coaches in the NFC, I'm taking Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, I think I'm with you.
There's not even close. If you want to argue about McDermott or Vrabel and Andy Reid, Shanahan right now has submitted himself as a top 5 coach.
Interesting how McVay just kind of fell off on that conversation. And I still think he's in there, though.
He's in there. He's in that top 3.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things went wrong for them this year.
He's in that top 3.
Yeah.
But Shanahan is on McVay.
Well, what's funny is like Baker Mayfield, we all agree his resume, pedigree, is more decorated than someone like Brock Purdy. Now, we can argue whether he's good or not in terms of Baker Mayfield. But winning that one game on, getting Baker Mayfield, acquiring him, and on short rest and winning, it felt like that one game meant everything for the season for Sean McVay.
Right.
Don't you?
Everything.
And everyone was like, oh, look at McVay. Look what he did with Baker Mayfield. Well, look what happened the rest of the way. It looked terrible.
Right.
The rest of the way.
The rest of the way, it was very, very shaky.
I think people don't understand how difficult it is for a backup quarterback to come in any situation, whether they've just been acquired or not.
And John Lynch said it yesterday right here on the Morning Roast. If you haven't listened to it, download the Odyssey app. Go back and listen to the John Lynch interview. He gave us 27 minutes. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I know some people were very critical. Oh, man, you should ask this, should ask that. Don't worry. We'll get John Lynch back on. Yesterday wasn't appropriate. You got to live in the moment. It's Cowboys week. There's a lot of good things going on. We want to touch on that. But he mentioned how Brock Purdy, in training camp, this lie that Brock Purdy looked like the best quarterback in training camp. It's an absolute fib. It's the biggest fib out there right now circulating around Brock Purdy.
The only thing that's more of a tall tale is the 8 billion people who've told me they were at the NFC Championship game in 1981.
Or the 90 championship against the New York Giants or something like that.
Nothing drives me crazy. Like, I was there.
I was at that game.
Only 68,000 were there. So you're telling me that the 100 billion of you who claim to have been there,
right?
Wow, it must have set an attendance record.
But John Lynch said it yesterday. Trey Lance got most of the reps.
Yes.
Suffield came to clean it up. And Brock Purdy basically got 1 rep, and you're back to the bench. So you didn't really get to go against the starting defense. So how'd you look so good? When you weren't even getting reps, were you looking great in drills, individual drills? Were you looking great in 7-on-7? Were you looking great running wind sprints? So this lie that Brock Purdy was lighting up in training camp, he looked like the best quarter. John Lynch just told everybody yesterday, yeah, that's a lie. He wasn't getting reps.
They had no idea what they had. I mean, they like the player. Like every person that they're going to acquire or bring into the facility, they've done their due diligence on, and they select them because they like them. But yeah, I'm with you. And you know, the thing is, sometimes guys outperform your expectations of them.
Right.
I mean, this happens a lot in sports, B. But at the same time, I also caution myself because what we believe someone to be early on doesn't necessarily mean that that's who they're going to blossom into for the long term. And, you know, I'm hearing people talk about, he's our 10-year quarterback, and he's just do you know how many few quarterbacks play 10 full seasons with one team?
It's unbelievable.
I mean, if you get 5 great years out of a quarterback, Lamar Jackson right now, you would think he'd be a 10-year Baltimore Raven. But if I told you, you know what, the Ravens and him are done with each other, Would you be surprised?
I would not be surprised at all. I would not be surprised if he ended up in Miami. You know what I'm saying?
Or anywhere.
Anywhere for that matter.
Who knows? Like, they clearly feel like they're at an impasse. Did Russell Wilson even last 10 full seasons with the Seattle Seahawks? I believe it was 9.
He did not. And the funny thing is, we said the same thing about Jimmy Garoppolo after he won those 5 games at the end of 2017.
And it's a miracle he lasted as long as he didn't.
Right.
He could have been out after 2 full seasons as a quarterback.
And revisit his history, people who are in this market. So that was my first year, and it's going into my second year in 95-70 game. He gets traded here. My 1-year anniversary happens, and this entire station was about Jimmy Garoppolo to the point where I would go to Raider games, and I hear from Raider fans and everybody saying, "Haha, you guys are 9 or 5-7 a game. What's going on at 9 or 5-7 a game?"
Was that Chris Townsend?
No, it wasn't him. Shout out Will Kiss, Raiders PR director.
The greatest Raider fan stat that not even Chris Townsend knows. Coming up next on Tammy's Cast.
And that's a tease.
Listen, we got Raider great Lincoln Kennedy joining us at 7.
Stretch it.
Who was George Atkinson?
George Atkinson.
Remember we used to do those
Austin
Raiders?
Gale, Pro Football Focus.
We used to do a show, Silver and Black, on Monday nights.
Oh, yeah,
What was it called, Spadoni?
Silver and Black show, right?
Yeah. So, and we'd have the same 3. It was Tom Flores, Lincoln Kennedy, and George Atkinson. And I used to do the show with him. Remember that, Spadoni? God, those days.
So all of a sudden,
shows.
So all of a sudden,
what was the Vegas guy? Come on,
Marco D'Angelo.
Win me some money, Marco.
It was like, there's everywhere else, and then there's Vegas. That was the song he used to play for Marco D'Angelo. But no, Jimmy Garoppolo, 2017. We ran promo after promo for Jimmy Garoppolo. He wins his first 5 starts, and we thought, Niner fans, got our guy. Thank you, Belichick. We got our guy.
I know.
And what happened? What happened?
It was short-lived.
So, like, I would not. I'm taking. Look, you said it all week long. I think we've seen it around the league. I am taking a quarterback position week by week, year by year. I have no idea if Trey Lance is going to be here next year, 5 years, 7 years. I have no idea if Brock Purdy is going to be here
right now
5
until
years,
he's not. That's
7
the way
years.
But Bonte, that's the way I'm operating. He's the dude right now,
right?
Until he's not.
Won't even know if Dak's going to be with the Cowboys 2 years from now.
Who knows? I'll tell you this though. My niece comes over yesterday. It's my wife's birthday, so she
Happy
comes.
birthday, Michelle! I can't believe you didn't bring that up yesterday on the show.
Well, she doesn't want me bringing her up anymore on the show.
Why? Hey, Michelle Shasky. Happy birthday.
Yeah. So,
happy damn birthday,
I didn't want to
Michelle
make a big deal.
Shasky. No.
So Erin comes over. She's gonna go to her first. Erin comes over. She's gonna go to her first playoff game on Sunday with us. And I'm like, it's Cowboys Niners. She's like, I can't wait to see Brock Purdy live in person. And somehow we started talking, or she started talking about his Instagram account. And you were talking about how Anna and a lot
Anna
of
follows him. She shares his stuff. Everything.
Well, Erin's obviously following.
Right.
She follows a lot of the players: George Kittle, McCaffrey, this, that, and the other. Point being is, I was blown away. She is all in, 19 years old, all in on Brock Purdy, and she knows every post he's ever posted. And I looked at his Instagram. Have you seen his Instagram?
He's over 400,000 followers now, right?
He looks 7 years old on the majority of the photos.
Yeah, no, he looks young. Anna went through the entire photo.
There's one where he's at homecoming. He looks like he's 12.
Dude, she saw his girlfriend. She was like, oh, what do you know? The Purdys were at Maestro's after the game Saturday.
Oh.
Maestro's. Or is it Maestro's? Maestro's.
I would say Maestro. Yeah.
Maestro's, yeah. So the Purdys were there. So Anna's all, like, seriously, I've never heard her talk about a player like this since I've dated her. I'm telling you, we got our Tom Brady, Bonte.
Well, that's the way we were with Jimmy. I think a lot of people caught in the moment right now maybe can't take a step back and remember we were intoxicated. We all were intoxicated with Jimmy Garoppolo. We all were,
so much so that I didn't want to move off him for Tom Brady.
It was Jimmy mania. Remember when he took the adult actress on a date? People, the internet lost its mind.
Lost its mind.
I mean, I think we did 4 shows that week on just that alone. Do you want your quarterback of your team, the face of the franchise, dating someone like that?
No doubt. No doubt. I mean, and we're going to do the same with Brock, but I want